Welcome back, everybody, to the BD1P Binding of Isaac Randomizer. Something interesting happened with our file in the last couple of days, so the mod updated, and it looks like the randomizer aspect of the mod kind of broke. I have every single character that I shouldn't have, and the ones that I did have previously are now locked. What I think is happening is that the file is giving me what I had previously done, like the real unlocks, like getting Maggie for real, getting Kane for real, and the ones that I shouldn't have by now in this file's progression are back to being locked. So I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing. I don't know if the randomizer series is kind of just like over because of that. I hope it fixes eventually, but I thought that in the meantime, one thing that shouldn't change are the challenges, so I thought we can do a challenge run for today. Maybe we can do Cat Got Your Tongue, sure. And hopefully that little issue, that bug, fixes itself in the meantime. Seed, by the way, is going to be TP7N YARB, Y-A-R-B. And I wanted to talk about today, besides the file breaking, a movie that I saw on vacation. One that, you know what, I'm really glad is doing well, so that every person who doubted the movie is in shambles right now. And that's, of course, not Megan. I saw Megan like 2 days ago. It was a good movie, but Avatar: Way of the Water. I'm a recent Avatar fan, right? I watched the first one when I was super young, kind of forgot about it because I was like a baby, and then when I heard 2 was coming out, I got a little bit excited. You know, I like James Cameron's stuff, and I think the first one, you know, it was like the highest grossing movie of all time for a super, super long period of time. If a movie's that high grossing, it doesn't mean it's good, but it has to have some kind of, like, that was so dumb of me, redeeming quality, right? And up to the movie's release, I saw a lot of, like, negative, you know, talk about it. There was talk like, you know, no one remembers the first movie at all, no cultural impact, like that crowd. And then movie 2 comes out, and within 2 weeks of its release, at the end of the year, it becomes the highest grossing movie of 2022. Just 2 weeks. Top Gun Maverick is still in theaters, and it beat that. That's pretty crazy. The no cultural impact crowd is in shambles right now. And I saw it in theaters. After I watched the first one the day before I saw it in theaters. And, dude, they both hold up real well. Avatar 2 is a lot better than Avatar 1 in my opinion, but they're both really good. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the second one, because the first one, I think it's a great movie, but there were points where I was kind of like, you know, I'm not super into this aspect or this part of it, it's kind of like whatever, but overall I enjoyed it. This second one, I enjoyed like every part of it besides like maybe 2 characters. One of those obviously being Spider, who is just like, I don't know. I don't like Spider. I get his purpose in the movie, you know, to kind of bridge the human Navi gap, but I don't know. I could have done without Spider, I guess. I wonder if the items we have unlocked are gonna be different now too. That's gonna be depressing. If we gotta start over the file, I might just go back to like a different kind of gimmicks. I don't want to start over the randomizer. If the randomizer was like, if it changes to now randomize floors and things like that, you can get, you know, the beast unlock right away and things of that nature, then I'll start it over. But if it's the same thing, but I'm just like lost all my progress, I think I'm done with the randomizer, to be honest with you. It's just demoralizing to want to start all of this progress all over. But anyways, it wasn't that late of a showing for Avatar, but it's a 3-hour movie, so it's going to end up being late regardless. And yeah, it's 3 hours, like 3 hours, 10 minutes, I think, somewhere in that range. It didn't feel like a 2-hour long movie until the very end. Like the last like 10 minutes of the movie, they do feel like it's very long, but everything else, like I forgot I was watching a 3-hour long movie. I think what he did best, like James Cameron's like style in that, is just letting the boys hang out. Like there's so much of that movie that's just like they're adjusting to a new culture and just kind of like being kids, and it's a hangout movie for a while, and I like that. We need more hangout movies. You lose the filler, you lose the characters. All right, my only like TV show semi hot take opinion is that filler episodes are very important. I think for just getting used to characters and kind of like learning about relationships and advancing that part of the plot, it's pretty important. I think that filler is a vital aspect of a lot of TV. The Sopranos did filler really well. We've kind of lost that, though. I mean, there's like one filler episode of Breaking Bad, and it's The Fly. And people didn't... The Fly is like my favorite episode in the entire show. People didn't like The Fly, though. There's so many, like, you know, classic YouTube video essays that are like, why The Fly is Breaking Bad's worst episode. And it's like, shut up. Die. Burn. It's really good. It's really fun. And it does more than people give it credit for. If you look at it as just like a goofy trying to kill a fly episode, you're going to leave it thinking it was useless for you, right? I'll buy a soul heart. That's fine. You're going to leave thinking it was useless. If you watch it and think like, man, this was actually pretty vital just to show how controlling and how, you know, much of a temper that Walt has, and it recontextualizes him and Jesse's relationship, I mean... then it becomes a pretty integral character episode. And Way of the Water has so many scenes where you're learning about, you know, because there's like 5 new main characters in that movie. And it never feels overbearing. It never feels like you're learning, you know, too much. You're not learning enough and you're just kind of getting confused. Every character has their own identity. It's great because it's a hangout movie. There's like an hour in the middle where it's just the characters, you know, developing personalities. It's very difficult to learn about like 5 new main characters in just 3 hours. It's honestly even more than that because there's like what 4 new Na'vi children. There's Spider. There's like the actual villains. Like there's so much you have to learn that getting that all done in a cohesive way in 3 hours, it's impressive, and it's in part due to just watching these characters be in the world. And because they're interacting with new things like the new Na'vi water tribe, you'll learn about them. And by the end of the movie, you kind of realize, like, you form an attachment with these characters. And although I wasn't really... I guess I got a little bit of emotional when spoiler character dies near the end, but it wasn't to a point where I was, like, going to cry, but it still felt like a loss, you know? And the reaction to that loss from other spoiler character was pretty intense, and it was maybe one of the most badass scenes in recent movie cinema. And I'm going to go on record saying this right now. The last 45 minutes to an hour of Avatar 2 is probably the most cinematic thing I've ever watched in a theater. I mean, like, just the entire last, like, battle sequence was so intense and just, like, beautiful, and there was so much going on. It was chaotic, but it also felt like it wasn't overbearing. It's a good movie. And you'll notice that once it kind of became the highest grossing movie of the year, the no cultural impact crowd, they piped down. I haven't seen a single post being like, you know, Avatar has no impact in the last, like, month. Or I will maybe like 3 weeks, I'll say, to give or take. That's huge for us. What are you? Sure, pop that right now. Can we upgrade? Yo, we can upgrade this into even bigger ball. Look at this giant lump. We were lumping around on this run. But yeah, TLDR, I really enjoyed the new Avatar. Visually, it was obviously, like, super impressive. That's the big pull of Avatar. Again, the world building too, like, just how organically it feels like everything is introduced, from whales to other sea creatures to how the other Na'vi get around and their mounts and things of that nature. How do I hit you without dying? That's perfect right there, actually. It's great. There were some complaints I saw online about how jarring the frame rate change was between scenes. I never even noticed that, and it might be because my eyes are, like, untrained to see that kind of stuff, but I never noticed the frame rate, like, changing on me. I knew it was happening because I heard about it before I saw the movie, but I never realized it was actually happening when it was going on. And I know James Cameron said that he's not going to be doing anything super high FPS in the next couple of movies because it's not what he wants to do. But I don't know. It looked fine to me. It looked great to me, honestly. That's huge. Might as well walk in here. Yeah, might as well, right? Okay, let's not get boned by Krampus. We do so much damage per hit. Holy shit. Ugh. Which way we go? We're going this way? We're going to dance? We're going to dance. Get him. Oh, ball of freaking Guppy's hairball. It's so good. Give me, yeah, soul heart, thank you. Give me a black card right here as well. A card for strength. That's pretty much a black card if you think about it. And then we'll go on down. But Avatar 1, I think it still holds up. I think you can notice a bit of, like, there's some scenes where the CGI may look a bit clunky. But it still is honestly better than a lot of, like, blockbusters that released today. The visual effects are still very, very impressive and noteworthy. Avatar 2 only makes that better. But I also saw another movie, one that I saw like 2 days ago, that I kind of saw for like a joke, but I was also kind of excited to see it because it just looked fun, and that's M3 GAN. I'll be real with you, I didn't expect to enjoy the movie as much as I did. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever. It was just a good movie. But there's some good laughs. There's some good scares. There's just a lot of like, there's a lot of what the fuck in that movie. Whether it be humorous or like of horror. I mean, a lot of killing. A lot of killing in that movie. And just like it's kind of gory in a way. There's not that much gore. Desi thought there was a lot of gore in the movie. I didn't think there was that much gore. There was one somewhat disturbing scene that involved a little bit of gore, but for me it wasn't that bad because I have a small tolerance to stuff like that. But again, I would go see Megan. I would see Avatar above Megan, obviously, but I would go see Megan in theaters. It's worth your time. They already made a sequel, or they're already in development for a sequel for Megan, which I don't know what they're going to name it because the title of the movie is already M3 GAN. I guess you could make like the 2 lines of the N into like Roman numeral of 2, but if they ever do Megan 3, how are they going to name Megan 3? 3's already in number 1's name. Is it going to be Megan with 2 3s? That'd be kind of funny. There's a lot you can do with the premise, man. I think we've lost in recent times. We've got like 5 Scream movies. We have another Evil Dead coming out, which looks very good, by the way. We got like 20 different Saw movies. I like these episodic horror movie like trains we got going on. They're pretty fun, but none of them are good. There's a couple that teeter on being a little bit okay. Or watchable, but a lot of those become not so good. And I think with Megan's premise of being like that was crazy, of being, I don't want to call it like a Wi-Fi killer, but she's like a computer killer. You can do a lot with that without making it like, hey, Michael Myers back for his 600th time, like in Halloween. You can make it more believable than that because she's a program. She can be in the cloud. She can do whatever. I guess a small, very minor spoiler here, but one of the main things in the movie is that Megan hacks into her creator's like smart home and, fucks with her in that way. You can do a lot with that kind of idea in like a sequel. And it'd be really cool to see how they balance that as like, because the whole world right now thinks she's some like super toy, like a great toy for kids to have. But I don't know. I think it's a really unique aspect of it. And I feel like it's one of the ones where you could have it going on for a while and not seem like it's too much. Whereas people are getting pretty tired of, the final Halloween movie for the 3rd time or whatever shit it may be. I think Megan's got a unique premise of it could go on forever and not seem like they're running out of ideas, if that makes any kind of sense to any of you. Why do bombs not break golden poop? It's 3 bombs for... I'm out of bombs. I'm out of bombs. I'm out of bombs. Just move on from that. It's not worth your time. But I liked it. And the new Evil Dead trailer looks pretty good. I forgot like that you have to be watching an R-rated movie to see R-rated trailers. Because I didn't even realize there was this many like horror slashers coming out in the next couple days, months I should say. There's a lot. To be real with you, at first I thought the new Evil Dead was like a new like Jigsaw type thing, because Spiral kind of changed up the Saw formula quite a bit. It's not bad to have, I guess, and it got me thinking. Obviously, it's good that Evil Dead is kind of like its own thing. But can you imagine a Saw movie where instead of like Saw hunting down the people, they just stumble upon him like mid-plan and he has to like whip some shit up like immediately trying to stop them? I think the big issue with Saw as a franchise was that it was the same thing over and over, and people got tired of it because there was nothing like, you know, new happening. And it was always like, oh, how is he still alive? Like, I thought he died like 6 or 7 times. You could totally change up that, like Jigsaw, or what was it? Spiral changed that formula in a good way, too. Spiral wasn't that great of a movie in my eyes, but I think because of how bad Saw was for a long period of time, it contextualized it and it made it a bit better by comparison. However, pause for a drink of water. However, you can just take the OG Saw and turn it around on its head, make it a bit different, and you can still have a little bit of a fresh idea there. I think the idea of maybe like Saw passes on his mission to somebody else and retires to some random ass cabin in the woods, and a bunch of campers like find him, and they fall into his like you know, predetermined traps that are just for like any kind of trespasser. Then he has to kind of like make on the fly a trap for each individual person. That's his MO, is he makes, you know, personalized traps. That could be fun to see more of that process and not just have it be a flashback every other fucking Saw movie is. Granted, I haven't watched every Saw movie. I'm not that crazy. I've seen Saw 1, 2, 3, 4, and Spiral. Because I heard after that, if it wasn't already bad, it gets worse. But I liked Saw 1. And I enjoyed Saw 2. Even a little bit of Saw 3. I'm not going to lie to you. There were some moments that I was like, you know what? They're still trying something new. But I didn't finish Saw 4 all the way through because I just couldn't stand it. It got just like, it got boring. Or this is actually even better than Strength for us, honestly, because we can use the Chariot card to just stand by Mom's foot or Mom's eyeball and swing into her. I'm going to probably bomb you. Yeah, you have a lot of HP for a regular room. Like, fighting you normally would be a pain. So I'm just going to bomb you as is, and we'll keep moving on here. A little bit late, but might as well buy Humbling Bundle and Black Candle. Maybe get a bomb here if we find, like, Chubb again. No bomb, that's fine. We'll teleport back over here, and we'll keep going on. But, I don't know. I still think that horror has a lot it can get, and I like trashy horror movies, but I want them to at least be somewhat good. If you're going to make a trashy horror flick, it has to be funny, because comedy and horror are like the two best genres. I think if last year proved anything, it's that Barbarian nailed the formula of comedy and horror being in the same little ballpark. Do more with that. It either has to be a horror thriller or like a horror comedy. I guess horror action's not a bad like genre mix to have either, but it's a lot harder to make a good horror action than it is to make a good just like horror comedy. You know, if that makes any kind of sense to anybody. What's in here? We have a vault room and a dice room, by the way. I think that means we had a sacrifice room on this floor that was overtaken. And then maybe a bedroom as well. Sure, might as well do this. And we'll get nothing. Oh, it's a spike chest, right. Essentially nothing in return. Very, very epic here. Boss fight shouldn't... Yeah, it's right here. Okay, let's just go win. And hopefully by the next time I play this game, I will have fixed whatever the hell was happening with the randomizer. I went to the Steam page and the comments were saying the same thing, that like it fucked their stuff up. I guess I'll just play as the characters that I have right now. What is the unlock you get for beating? Is it like fish head or something? What do you get for beating this challenge? I think once I beat it and I see it, I'll know if it's the seeded unlock or not. If nothing is randomized anymore, might be a small pause on the Isaac series until that like fixes, because I don't want to be what would you call it? I don't want to be just playing straight vanilla. What's in here? Humor me. Okay, Dark Bum. Doll's Head would have been great to have earlier, but whatever. What's the unlock we get here? I think that's random. I thought that runes were like later down. No, maybe that isn't random. Let's do some sleuthing real quick. Hold on. I know it's minimized for you guys. What is Cat got your tongue. Cat got your tongue. Isaac unlock. No, it is algaes. So the randomizer's just broken right now. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. If you enjoyed the video and my commentary, a like and a comment goes a long way for a smaller channel like mine. In the meantime, though, guys, I have been BD1P. Peace out and goodbye.